Hey everyone, I know that I usually post a tournament report on Saturdays, but I decided to change things up this week in celebration of Worlds happening this weekend. So for today's episode, it's going to be about what deck I would have taken to Worlds, and that deck is in Zoroark. It has a great matchup spread into most of the top decks like Dragapult and Gardevoir, which I would expect a lot of people to be playing. And as for the list itself, we'll start off by talking about the man himself, Zoroark EX. It has a whopping 280 HP for a Stage 1 Pokemon, has a beautiful ability called Trade, which allows you to discard a card and draw 2, and then its Night Joker attack allows you to copy one of your benched In's Pokemon attacks and use it. So what Pokemon are we using in combination with that to copy their attacks? We're using In's Reshiram, which can do, with Virtuous Flame, 170 damage, or, in the Dragapult matchup specifically, Powerful Rage, which does 20 times the amount of damage counters that the Zoroark currently has. So this allows you to be able to one-shot their Dragapults, but because you have 280 HP, they're not able to one-shot your Zoroarks unless they have, like, a Dusknoir or a way of getting a lot more damage on your Zoroark first. Other than that, we also are running the In's Darmanitan and the In's Darumaka to get into it. So the Darmanitan, you're primarily going to use the Flame Body Cannon, which does 90 damage, and then you discard all energy from this Pokemon, and it does 90 more to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. That's huge in matchups like Dragapult if you're able to go and get aggressive faster than they can start to set up, because you can actually knock out 2 of their Dracloaks at the same time. It's also amazing into the Gardevoir matchup because you're able to, again, knock out 2 bodies at once, which is just huge. Other than that, we are also running 1 copy of Fez, 1 copy of Pecharunt, which comes in clutch a lot. It allows us to freely switch one of our dark Pokemon into the active. It does poison that Pokemon, but that's a minor inconvenience for a huge upside. And then we are also running a Bloodmoon Ursaluna. As for the trainers, our ace spec is the Precious Trolley. In's PP Up and In's Castle are huge in this deck, but we only run 2 copies of each because for the most part, we tend to find what we need and find them as soon as we possibly can, because we do run 4 copies of Arven's to find like the In's PP Up, the Precious Trolley, and to find our tools, which we are running Power Glass to go alongside that Darmanitan, and we are running the Defiance Band still, just to do an extra 30 damage if we need it. Other than that, as for the energy count, we are running 2 copies of Reversal Energy. This is in here solely for the allowance of Darmanitan to be able to attack himself, rather than having to rely on a Zoroark to do the attack. It does come into clutch in the matchups of, like, specifically Crustle, and that whole wall deck right there, because this allows you to actually get rid of a Crustle and still be able to do things. And then we are running 6 copies of Dark Energy. Overall, I love this deck a lot. I play it a lot in my free time, and this is what I would have taken to Worlds. So I do have 3 games to showcase the way that the deck works and how I play it. And as always, if you can, hit that like and subscribe for more. I post every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. So without further ado, we'll go on to game number 1. Alright, so game number 1, starting off, we see a Badoo and a Fez. Alright, and we open up with a Reshiram. Our hand's not looking terrible, but we definitely need to find ways of getting to a Zoroark. So luckily, we top deck that Hilda, which is huge. I'm so happy that they printed Hilda. It works so well with our Zoroark deck, being able to help us find our energy, especially our special energy when we need it for the Darmanitan. So here, we just get everything set up. We got 2 Zorua set up, and we were able to use that Hilda early, so that in the next turn, we can actually use this Turo to be able to get the Reshiram out of our active and get a Zoroark up and starting to swing. Alright, so here they do use a Arven, and they did play down the Cyndaquil, so we do know that they are going into a Typhlosion line as well with their deck. So it seems like a more, like, modern version of the whole Ethan's Typhlosion, where they're trying out some extra things to see if they can make it a little bit better. that is pretty cool. And then here they did get a Dragapult, so we know that they're going to be going into the Dragapult next turn. So here we are going to be able to put down a Zoroark. We're going to be able to discard one of the energy that we don't really need because we do have the PP ups. And then we're just going to Turos our Reshiram so we can actually get that on the bench and be able to start swinging this turn. We don't need to attach our band just yet. We can save that for the other Zorua in case we're able to get that into a Zoroark next turn. Our first prize is kind of a dead draw, but you know, dead draws in this deck don't really matter too much. We can always just trade them away with our Zoroark's ability. Here they do get the Quilava down and they find the Ethan's Adventure, so they're most likely going to start trying to get their Typhlosions ramped up because that's the only thing that we really have to be afraid of. That can just one-shot our Zoroarks. So here they do just get 2 more Cyndaquil down. And then they put on their Ace spec, which is the tool and everything that allows them to do 50 extra damage, but it's still not enough to one-shot us. They are putting damage down on the Reshiram too, so if they do get to go into another Dragapult, then they'll be able to get that off. We top deck the Serrano, which is huge here because we can actually get the Pecharunt, we can get another Zoroark EX, and get the Fez. So now our board is pretty well set up. We are going to trade away that counter catcher that we don't need anymore. And then with the other Zoroark, trade away the Maractus, which we don't need. And then we do find another Zorua. And we are going to In's PP up real quick. And then I'm thinking about attaching. I could just save it in case something gets trapped in the active. And then here we're able to hit for 500 damage, which is huge and absurd for damage. But that does one-shot their Dragapult, which means that we're finally down to 3 prizes, and they still haven't even taken a single prize from us yet. It's one of the reasons why I really love this deck. When this deck gets going, it's kind of hard to stop. So here they put down another Dreepy, they go into another Quilava, and they get out another Ethan's Adventure, and then they get out one more. So by my counts, that's now 3 that they have used. Yep, so 3 in the grave. They do use that research to draw 7. They get a third Quilava down, so we know that we're going to be having to play through a whole bunch of Typhlosions. But that is completely fine. We have ways of dealing with that. We have Boss to be able to get rid of Fez as well. Here they get a second Dreepy down. And they just hit us with the Quilava's attack doing 40 damage. So that's more than enough because we were already at 250. We put up this Zorua, so that way then we can just see what else we're going to draw into. We did get the Stadium, so now we have free retreat. And then I'm thinking about playing down the Bloodmoon Ursaluna right now. But I decide I'm just going to hold it in hand real quick. I am going to Fez, see what we get. And then after seeing what we got, yeah, I am going to play it down. We have 2 Dark in the grave. So here we can just use Arven. This allows us to get the Night Stretcher, and then we can grab the Power Glass. We also could have just grabbed the Energy Switch for later too. And then we're just going to be able to Night Stretcher back the Zoroark. That way then we can do some more draws in case we need it. And we're hitting for 170, getting rid of this Quilava. So now we're down to only 2 prize cards. So all we have to do is swing with the Bloodmoon Ursaluna, which we have pretty much set up. We have the Night Stretcher to be able to get a Dark back. And then we have the Boss, so we can actually boss up their Fez that's on the board and be able to hit it with 240 damage to knock it out for both of the prizes that we have remaining. So I'm expecting that they're going to knock out the Zoroark. That's why I prepped this way as well. If they don't knock out the Zoroark, then we can still just swing with the Zoroark as well. But they have everything set up to actually get the knockout. And here they hit us with another Arven. And then they play out the Dracloak, so they're able to dig a little bit more. But I do think that by us playing the Bloodmoon, it kind of sealed it. They really need to get rid of the Bloodmoon that turn if they wanted to have a chance still. But here we're just going to put the Bloodmoon into the active. We have the Night Stretcher. We're going to get back the Dark Energy, attach that, boss up that little Fez that they got, and hit it for game. Alright, so game number 2, we see a Team Rockets deck. So there's a Team Rockets Mimikyu. They also are going first as well. So let's look at our hand. How is our hand doing? Our hand isn't terrible. We have the Arven, which is huge because then we can get our A-Spec, the Precious Trolley, be able to get our bench all set up. We have a Zorua in the active. The only bad thing here is they are getting their main attacker set up, that little spider that goes into Spidops. So here I do use the Buddy Poffin. I was looking through my deck, just trying to make sure of what all I have. So here I do have the Reshirams, I do have the Zoroarks, I have the Daramitans, and then here we just get the Precious Trolley and the Power Glass. So I should have just used the Arven to check instead of the Buddy Poffin. So that's kind of a mistake because that would have been just a free card to trade away later on with a Zoroark. So here we do at least get our board completely set up. So we're setting up here, so if they do knock out one of these Zoruas, we actually have the Darumaka in the back, plus we have our special energy, so we can actually attach that, use the Iono, and have a chance of finding the Darmanitan to be able to knock out the Spidops and knock out a Tarantula in their back as well. So that's what we were setting up here. So we do just promote that Zorua, and then I'm just thinking how exactly I want to sequence this out. Instead, I kind of make a blunder here. I'm really debating about just getting a Zorua started, or getting a Zoroark started, so that's why I did that. We do find the Darmanitan, so if we would have went for the play, we would have actually been able to get it off. So here we are just going to put down a Cleffa and we pass. So we're giving up another Zorua. It was just a tough 50-50 as to whether or not we were actually going to hit or not. Here they are able to get into another Spidops. And then they use the Ariana so they can actually draw up to 8. And then the Stadium allows them to draw, I think, 3 extra cards. So... or no, 2 extra cards. Here we do have Hilda's in our hand, and that is going to be phenomenal. So they do have 2 Spidops set up now. So no matter what, they will be able to knock out one Zoroark. Here we are just going to get a Zoroark. We're also going to get that reversal energy, so we have that for next turn. We're going to throw down the Zoroark, use its trade, get rid of one of our dark energies, and then use Fez. We do find a Night Stretcher, so that allows us to be able to get another Zorua down. And then we'll just manually attach one of the dark energies. We're looking to see exactly what all we used. And then here we can actually hit with the Virtuous Flame, get a knockout on one of the Spidops. So now we're finally taking our first prize card. And we're also setting ourselves up with our hand to be able to go into Darmanitan, hopefully next turn, be able to knock something out. So with them already having a Spidops, I expect that they're going to knock out our Zoroark EX this next turn, and that will allow us to just freely switch up the Darmanitan to be able to use the reversal energy and get a double knockout here. but they do activate that Proton, so depending on what Team Rocket cards they're running, it could foil our plan, and we do see the Articuno being added to their hand. So that Articuno does stop our Darmanitan's spread damage. We'll still be able to knock out a Spot Ops, but we won't be able to like spread the damage as well as what we would want. So if they play that down, that's kind of really bad for us here. But they do just switch into the Spite Ops. They put a Grass Energy on one of the Tarantulas. They just attack. They didn't play any of the extra Pokemon that they had added to their hand. So that's actually really good for us. Here we're going to be able to put the Reversal and then use Fez. We can actually look at 3 more cards. So the cards that we got aren't terrible here. So there's a couple different things that we could do. So we can't attach any more energy. I'm debating if I want to put down the Zoroark. I also could just put down this Bloodmoon right now, and then I could hit them with a Iono. That's kind of what I was thinking about doing here. So I Buddy Poffin. I just want to see what else is in the deck real quick. I'm thinking about grabbing out that other Zorua. I do see that I have another of the Darmanitan line, so I could also potentially go for that. But here is another misplay. So I just decide, you know what? I'm fine with them having those cards in the hand, sadly, and I just attack. So if you're in that position, don't be like me. I was way too lost in thought with my plays. I definitely should have just hit them with the Iono and put them down to 2 cards and gotten rid of that Mewtwo EX. Because now they're able to use the Pal Pad. They put back 2 of their supporters. They have the secret box as well. So here they're going to be able to get everything that they want. They get rid of the Articuno. The big thing with their Mewtwo EX is that in order for it to attack, it has a ability that requires them to have 4 Team Rocket's Pokemon or more. So here they do go into another Spite Ops. They do get a energy attached to it. They put the Bravery Charm on the Mewtwo, put a Bravery Charm on the Mimikyu. And I'm just thinking, okay, so what exactly are they trying to do here? So they do have the energy switch. They're going to be able to attack this turn. And they have the Giovanni's to go with it because I searched it with the secret box. So they're going to be able to bring something up. They brought up the Reshiram. And they don't hit the heads, so they hit the tails. They get a Wobbuffet down. And they just use Erasure Ball. They knock out the Reshiram. And here we just put up the Clefairy. So I can't remember exactly what all was left in my deck. I don't know if I still had a Reversal. We could have just used a Reversal, but that still, I think, would lose us the game. Yeah, because they'd be able to knock it out with Mewtwo, because that Mewtwo is all set up. So here we have to be able to knock out this Mewtwo, which we are going to be able to with the Night Joker attack, being able to copy our Reshiram that we got back onto the field. So that puts us down to only 1 prize remaining, and our opponent only has 1 prize remaining. So this is a really good position. I wish I could have gotten the knockout with the Bloodmoon Ursaluna because they have the Spite Ops that they can just go into and get the knockout right away. So sadly, we made a couple too many mistakes and that kind of cost us the game. So here is game number 3 and we see a Ralts off the bat. As for our board and our hand, our board is pretty set up for what we need. We have a Darumaka down, we have a Zorua, and we have a Reshiram. We have the Zoroark in hand, and we do have the Serrano, which can get us like the Pecharunt for this matchup. And overall, our hand's not terrible. We are kind of hoping that the Zoroark is going to find us energy, because we need to try to get early attacks off as soon as possible to stop them from being able to get a Gardevoir established. So here they do have the Arven, so they could get their secret box, so they can get everything that they could ever desire. Every single Guardy player usually has Secret Box turn 1, so this is just standard Guardy at its finest. Here I was just looking to see exactly what they got. They got a Research, a Artisan, a Earthen Vessel, and then here they do just play down that Artisan, so they're able to get down another Ralts. They do use the Earthen Vessel. They're setting up their graveyard now. They got the TM Evo as well. And then they get down a Kirlia. We got a Reversal Energy, so not very helpful, especially in this matchup. If you're having to use Reversal Energy in this matchup, it's kind of a telltale sign that you're kind of on the back end. I was thinking about getting rid of Boss here or Counter Catcher. I got rid of the Boss, which I probably should have just gotten rid of Counter Catcher instead. And then we do get a Iono off the top, so we can at least do that. We do find our Precious Trolley, so we can actually get more of what we need onto the bench. So we are just going to get down the Fez and the Pecharunt here. We do have the Inn's Castle as a stadium bump, and then we're able to manually attach. And then we're just going to pass. So if they want to knock out this Darumaka this turn, they can. I'm okay with that happening. And we'll be able to swing with Zoroark next turn. And at that point, we could actually use the Arven to get our Counter Catcher and one-shot this Gardevoir if they do knock out the Darumaka too. So here they play down a Screamtail and a Munkidori, and they did get into the Gardevoir too. So we know that they're going to be able to attack with the Screamtail, so they could actually one-shot a Zorua on our bench if they want this turn. I think they have just enough to be able to do so. Yeah, so there's 40 damage on that Screamtail. Here, they're just going to knock out that Zorua. That is completely fine, because now we can actually do that play. So here, we Buddy Poffin, which this is also a mistake. I know that I'm not knocking out the Screamtail this turn, so I shouldn't have used the Buddy Poffin just yet. It just gives them a free target. I mean, Darumaka they could also knock out, but I would rather them knock out the Darumaka instead of one of these Zoruas. But here, we are just going to trade away the Maractus because we don't need that. And then we are just going to Counter Catcher up their Guardy. And then I'm just making sure that I don't need to attach anything. And then here we hit for 340. We get to knock that out. Get 2 prizes. So they're most likely going to bring up the Screamtail now. And they're probably going to knock out another Zorua. So we definitely shouldn't have used that Buddy Poffin. But sometimes, as everyone else, I do kind of get a little bit lost in thought. Alright, so there they did use the Nest Ball. They got a Mew EX down, which we're fine with. They get another Ralts down, and they have the Night Stretcher to get a Kirlia back, so they can actually get another Guardy hopefully started for them next turn, which we're not hoping for it, but they're hoping for it. We can still actually just knock it out, so I mean, it's not terrible if they do get another Guardy down next turn. Their board's not really looking that well. The Mew EX doesn't really matter to us. I mean, if they Genome Hack, they get Night Joker, but they don't have any Inn's Pokemon to copy with. So here, they do just knock out that Zorua. We have another Buddy Poffin. We do finally find the Darmanitan too. So I'm actually going to look through with Artisan. I kind of want to look and see exactly what all I have left in here. So I'm looking to see, do we still have what we need? We don't have the Power Glass anymore. So here we just Fez. We're able to trade away one of the Buddy Poffins. And then I'm just thinking about my play. So like now we have the Bloodmoon, which we can use later on. Here we're just going to Night Stretcher back. We know that we're knocking out the Screamtail this turn. So now I'm thinking about doing Flame Body because I can actually knock out that Kirlia. So I do that. And that does take away both of the energy that I had attached to my Zoroark, but if I can find a ends PP up, I can actually get this Zoroark to attack again. Because the play is, well, actually I have the Arven in hand, so I could actually use Arven, get ends PP up, be able to retreat the Zoroark first into the Zorua, and then use ends PP up, attach from discard to the Zoroark, then manually attach for turn to the Zoroark, and use Pecharunt to move the Zoroark back into the active, so he can start swinging next turn as well. Now, I don't really think that there's a way for this Gardevoir player to really win now. They don't really have any more attackers, and they still need 4 prizes, and with us already having a Zoroark established and them not being able to use Guardy too much, I think it's pretty much over, and yep, they concede. So, those are the games that I have. This is the deck that I would have taken to Worlds, so I hope that you guys enjoy playing it if you guys do give it a try, and please hit that like and subscribe for more. I post every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I hope to see you guys in those videos as well.